Hey, this is Josh at Apex Overland. We've never done an official walk around of the Apex Overland 4Runner. We've had it for like 10 years now, so now's probably the time to do it. We bought this thing in October of 2014. It had like 30 miles on it. I took it straight to URA with like 300 miles on it. We've had it for 10 years now, and it has not let us down once. It was not the vehicle that started us in overlanding. I had a 2012 Tundra that kind of got us the small hook. We realized that the Tundra wasn't good for our needs, so we traded in on this thing. This thing has been around before the start of Apex Overland. Again, it hasn't let us down. It's been solid. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. I'll probably be buried in this thing. So, as you can see, it's been loved over the years. And let's do the walk around here. All right, so our roof rack that we have now currently is an LFD off-road roof rack. We've had a bunch of iterations of roof racks over the years. Finally settled on this one. Super strong, but yet super light. Don't really carry a lot up here. Just 4 max tracks and an LFD traction mount holder, and some basic tie downs for stuff that I need, and a light bar on the front. Up in the front, have solar panels that are just double side taped. They're the flexible ones. They work perfect for our needs. No use of any big panels. I like tucking them under the roof rack because I can still load stuff. Again, you block stuff, or you block the solar if you load stuff on top of it. But generally, I just have enough stuff to roll back here, like my swag tent, and that's about really all that gets put on the roof up here. So for front bumper here, it's a CBI front bumper. We had the older style CBI bumper on it because they didn't make them back in 2014 for this front end. So within the past few years, I finally upgraded to the CBI bumper. Keep a Warn winch in it. It's a Warn Xeon 10S, but I have a Master Pull new winch line on it, mainly because I snapped the old one, and then two, it's bright and orange, so it's easier to see. I have modified this bumper. I ordered the bumper without the headlight hoops, and we added our own headlight hoops to it. I wanted it a little higher above the lights and stick out a little more than what came with it, so that's something we do here is custom fabrication. So made my own hoops. I also cut in these holes bigger so you have winch access. The bumper's primarily designed to use the Warn Platinum winches with the wireless clutch release. I didn't want that, so this hole came straight across, like right here for a light bar. I cut it down to make it look better. You can kind of see my cuts on this side weren't the greatest, but they work. This side looks a lot better. Loaded it with some Baja lights that are just wired into the factory fog light switch, and then of course our Apex Overland recovery points work with the CBI front bumpers for the 5th gen 4Runners. Let's go out back. It's a CBI rear bumper. I made my own bumper years ago. Got rear-ended by someone doing 60 when I was sitting still, so that bumper went out the window. Ordered a CBI bumper to match the front. As you can see, it's well loved. It's held up great. Went with the dual swing on it, jerry can mounts, high lift holder, obviously tire mount, angled tire mount. Loaded the rear bumper with some Baja lights just like the front. It has held up really well. All right, for sliders and skids, these are RCI sliders. I bought these sliders back in like 2015, 2016 time frame. They have been on since then. They've held up great. No complaints with them. They're the angled ones that they have. They're awesome. Can't say enough good things about them. Like, they've protected the truck so many times. For skid plates, LFD skid plates, this is the wide version. These call it the Apex version because I called up LFD and asked for a full width one that reached the full portion of the radiator support here. Now they just call it the wide version. So that we have LFD skids the whole way back. Engine, transmission, transfer case, and fuel tank skid. I don't have a rear diff skid on this. I just haven't seen the need for one. The rear end's plenty thick enough. Plus it reduces a little bit of ground clearance back there. And then continuing on, the sliders here just to show you how well loved they are. You can see my leg polishes the powder coat off of them, and then that is Jill's, one of her little mishaps. But the slider is still straight, but that was a very, very hard hit. And then same thing back here, got loved against some rocks. But again, the body's not damaged down there anyways. Going on body damage, here's what we have really quick. Right here is a dent in the quarter panel and some scuffs. Jill, I think you did this one.
Yeah.
At OEX with Kat with your training.
Yep.
Obviously the bumpers are super scratched up. This door, I believe, is the only panel.
Well.
Oh, no. It's got scratches on it. It doesn't have a dent. I think it's the only panel on the whole truck that doesn't have a dent, minus the roof. This door has a big dent in it right here. I backed into it with the Can-Am, and plus it already had dents in it anyways from getting rolled into stuff. This fender's pushed out from, I believe I had a rock at one point come up and get between the tire and the fender, and it pushed the fender up, and that's better. Plus the dent on the front from a deer / trees.
Yeah, it was a tree.
Headlights are busted from being used. Like, again, the roof's the only thing, or the hood's the only thing that doesn't have dents. This one right here, dent in again from deer and such. The snorkel kind of keeps it together. Again, fender's out because I get used. That right there is a high lift coming into it and slipping. It broke the mirror at the same time. All of this door shenanigan stuff right here is when I flopped the 4Runner on its side 2 weekends in a row. First one's going up Daniel through the second climb. If you watch our video on that, you'll see what I'm talking about. I got scuffs on it, and then the following weekend at URA, same area within 15 feet, I literally flopped the 4Runner inside. So this whole side is there. This quarter panel has been replaced from that accident I mentioned earlier. So yeah, and then again, bumpers and such are getting well
Pots.
used. Oh yeah, then pots. 2 or 3 weekends ago, I hit a tree stump I didn't see and put a nice gouge, almost ripped the flare off. I need to get in there and push that out best I can. While we're over here, I'll talk about the ARB snorkel. We've had this thing since 2015, I believe. This is one of the first 5 to ever come in the country. They shipped 5 over. We were lucky enough to get one of the first ones. This was so new that the template was like a suggestion. The holes didn't line up. There's a bunch of extra holes behind this fender because I didn't know that. So that's how new this snorkel was back then. And it's been rolled in the walls, as you can see. It's still holding up. I still have the original head on the snorkel, believe it or not. I put some self-tappers under this band to keep that thing from flying off. But original head on the snorkel, it's done really well. Quick overview of lights. We'll start from the rear and come forward. I've got a chase light in the rear for dusty situations. It's on the rear bumper. Loaded in the rear bumper are Baja Sport wide cornerings. Up on the A-pillars there are the Baja Sport combos, the wide cornering and the spot in amber. Up on the roof is the S8. I think it only comes that way. In the bumper, again, Baja Pros here. Those are the combo wide cornering in amber. Up front here is a Cali raised bar. I don't think they make this size anymore, so don't ask them. Don't ask me. I don't know what size it was. This thing is very old. It was one of the first ones they came out with. I'm pretty sure they don't make that size anymore, but it fits the grill perfectly. And then factory headlights have been going good. Loaded in those are, I want to say they're aux beams. No, they're Morimoto, just HIDs. They work great. They're not LEDs, fancy LEDs. They're just HIDs. Then loaded in the high beams, I've got aux beam amber bulbs because I don't really run the high beams. They're like my daytime running lights are amber now. I'll show you that here in a minute. But with my high beam circuit, this light bar gets cut on as well, so I still have plenty of high beam. All right, for rock lights, had a bunch of different rock lights on here. Finally settled in for the Rhino Light rock lights. We went with the white and red combo, so you can choose between both. And then while we're doing that, just recently put on the C4 high clearance fender kit here. It's got the rubbing down to complete 0. I have not trimmed the flares. Didn't need to. My tires tuck up just inside the flare, so there's no reason to do the high cut. All right, for suspension here, again, multiple different iteration suspension. This is the one we finally decided on that we love. Rad flows, 2.5s with remote reservoirs, non-compression adjuster. I'm not a compression adjuster person because I don't feel like getting out and adjusting them. 700-pound springs, Total Chaos upper control arms, Total Chaos lower control arms. Their full suite of gussets. If they made a gusset for this truck, it is on here. And then for the rear, very similar setup. Radflow 2.5-inch shocks with remote reservoirs. Rear springs are Dobinson 701 springs. Links are Metal Tech links. Or sorry, not Metal Tech, Metal Cloak links. Metal Cloak links. That's why they're gold. And then, almost forgot, I have hydro bumps from Radflow on all 4 corners of this thing. So you can see them there. Rear axle has them, and the front axle has them as well. The fronts bump off the lower control arms. When you jump this 4Runner, it lands so smooth, it is ridiculous. You wait for the bump that's really hard, and you never really get the full bump. It's amazing. I'm so under that one. All right, for miscellaneous stuff under the front end here, again, Total Chaos gussets on everything. CVJ axles, never broken one on its own. The only time I've ever broken one was my tie rod bent, not this one obviously. My tie rod bent and hyperextended the CV, and it broke the CV at the same time, but the culprit was the tie rod. Since then, we have gone to the Solo Motorsports Tundra rack with their super beefy billet with Heim on both end, double sheared tie rods. I don't think I'll ever bend one of those again. Super, super stout. While we're in the fender well here, obviously we've done a body mount chop. Custom plate that we make for everyone we do here. They're not off the shelf plates. We make custom plates for every truck that comes through. Full length body mount, 0 rub on 35s. I highly suggest not cutting it off right there like a lot of people do, because this piece of metal, if you look at crash test videos, keeps this tire from crushing your feet. So full length body mount, clears. As you can see, it doesn't rub. No need to cut it off, or even honestly a relocate. Again, 35s, no issue. All right, so fender well again. We've got rad rubbers sneaking back in there. The factory ones went out in a few thousand miles on this thing, so we've had rad rubbers since, I want to say like 2017. They've been in there, the original set. They've been lasting that long. And then we also have power brakes up front, so they're full X-Line kit. So caliper and rotor replacement, major upgrade. I didn't think they were worth it till I put them on this thing, and then they're awesome. And then in the rear, we have the rear's loaded with a D-line kit. All right, for rear bumper here, opens up, dual swing out, because single swing out is not fun in parking lots. There's that chase light I was talking about. Open up the rear. It's not too fancy back here. Nice and simple. Dometic fridge. Have some PSD racks up here by Orange Box. So they hold the solar charge controller, fridge plug, extra winch controller, some just basic stuff. We've kind of got over not storing stuff up here as far as recovery gear. We got to figure out what we're going to put up there. All the recovery gear sits now in this Max Trax bag. We have a couple trucks, so instead of having 4 different full recovery kits, We have 2 built recovery kits, and they just go with each of us. Whatever truck you drive that day, you just throw the recovery kit in there. In the floor, they're just the old style 4Runner boxes screwed down to a wood plate I made. Tools in this one, spare parts in there. Speaking of spare parts, I keep a rear spare shock. I broke a spare shock one time. Was my fault, but bought a new one, so I have a spare. Also keep a spare CVJ just in case. Breaker bar, full first aid kit. Full first aid kit. When we go on our bigger trips with friends, I've got a bigger first aid kit I carry as well. Blue Ridge bag loaded with all the tire accessories for airing up, fixing tires, airing down, all that fun stuff. Up in the top, Blue Ridge Overland gear at it. That thing's awesome in the wintertime to throw jackets and blankets and stuff for the kids. That is it back here. But if we look down lower, one of the most recent mods we've done is the Long Range America fuel tank. This thing goes ridiculously far with an extra 20 something gallons in the tank. It is amazing. All right, for the interior here, start off PRP seat covers. Got them custom made. Fill out the stuff, we can get them for you. Up top, all the patches we've collected over the years. It's pretty much a full headliner now. I've stripped a ton of them off. They're just companies that have gone away and stuff I just haven't liked, so it's kind of been set that way for a few years. In seat covers, over there we have our Switch Pros control panel there that does everything. As you can see, it does what is labeled. That front button is programmed so when you hit it, every forward facing light on this truck turns on at once, which is amazing on backcountry roads. And when people high beam you, you can show them what real high beams are. Over here is the winch controller. So I keep the wireless plugged in at all time on the winch. I'm out alone a lot, so it's nice to have the wireless just to bump out a little bit more if you need to and control things a little better. We haven't talked about the differentials in this thing. It has been re-geared twice now. The first time went to 456s when we were on the 33/34s, and they were great, but when we stepped up to 35s, it was hurting a little bit. So did 48s. It drives almost like stock now. It's awesome. 48s, but then while we're in there, this model is an SR5. If you notice the twisty knob, shift knob, it started its life out as a base model SR5 with the Canadian package on it, which is just like a battery heater and some random stuff. So it's still an SR5, still factory transfer case, but we added front and rear lockers with ARBs and a compressor under the hood. While we're right here, this is our switch right here and our gauge for the fuel tank in the back. So it's a gauge and a switch for the pump all in one. So it's at roughly quarter tank right there, and your little buttons on the side, and you can turn your pump on. All right, for head unit, I had an Apple CarPlay head unit here, but it was giving us some random problems, so we just took it out. Original head unit from 2014. It plays music. That's all we really asked for. Garmin tread here as for the navigation goes, and then right above it, Garmin camera. So is the new one with the screen. What model is this?
That's the 67W.
The 67W. So there you go. Other than that, I think I've got the interior covered, minus like the Blue Ridge Overland visor organizer, which holds the lighter for resetting tires.
My compass.
Your compass, the Factor 55 fast fid. That's about it. Yeah, I think it's all for in here. Let's go under the hood. Almost forgot the accessory port right here. So this stays on all the time. So it's running the Garmin. Usually I have a phone plug plugged into it. I don't know where it's at. An extra cigarette plug that stays on the time, and a voltmeter that's just monitoring right now. So not a ton of solar today. Fridge is running. We're still at 12.3 volts for 2 little panels up there. It's pretty awesome. So we're under the hood here. Engine, stock as a rock. Don't mess with it. Don't put a supercharger on it. Keep it reliable. It's a Toyota. Have put a K&N filter in here, an oiled filter. We do keep a spare dry, typical like Wix filter in the back for like super dusty situations, like when Jill went out west, she popped the dry filter in. But this has done really well for us. I've checked the MAF, all the stuff with the oil. People say it covers the MAF. I've cleaned it multiple times. I just don't over oil it. ARB dual compressor with a 1 gallon tank underneath it. See the ARB solenoids for the lockers there. Over on this side, our accessory panel that we make. It's our own brand. On top of that is the Switch Pro's brain. It runs over to the Group 31 battery from Batteries Plus. It's just a regular AGM battery with an LFD battery mount on top of it. It works awesome. Not into the dual battery territory. Again, the solar on the roof and the big battery runs the fridge perfectly fine. Never been caught out with the fridge dying or us being stuck anywhere. It just works. All right, for wheels and tires, BFG KM3s and 315/70/17s. This is our second set on this truck. It's had tons of tires. We keep landing back on BFGs. I love a good mud terrain. And then the wheels are black Rhinos. What model are these?
The Baker.
Bakers, and I think they're -18 offset.
Correct.
I don't even think they
don't make
that.
these.
They don't make that. I think I have the only 5 ever made. It was like a weird prototype phase thing, so they're definitely well loved. They're not bead locks. That's just a rock ring. As you can see, with all the scuffs on them, we've had them for a few years. They do great. They're awesome. We love them. All right, but that's the walk around for the Apex Overland 4Runner. Again, we've had it for 10 years now. It's kind of getting to the phase now where it's not the daily driver anymore. I've got something kind of new, so haven't done a video on that yet. I don't think anybody knows about it yet. But this isn't the daily anymore, so upcoming plans for it are Jill's already won the Artemis Rally in it once, and this coming year they're going to run the Rebel Rally in it. With that said, it is kind of heavy. It's not really supporting the overland daily driver thing anymore, so probably going to be reducing some weight on this and making some tube bumpers for it that are super lightweight, ditching the tire carrier, throwing the tire in the back. We got all kinds of plans for it, so stay tuned. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube. Yep, that's our 4Runner.
Thanks for watching.
Bye. Oh, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I don't know where you went.